Ah, okay. So,
Okay, something just happened. Watch live now. You're live, Sean.
You're
Live.
Are we?
Yeah, finally.
Are you sure about that?
Watch live now.
Oh, we are indeed. Unbelievable.
I'll share it.
I've set up about 19 of them as well, which is fantastic. So,
All right.
very good, Lisa. Great success. Let's get into it.
Hey, guys, we've finally done it. We're finally here.
Apologies, it's an hour and a half late. And there's probably about 19 different streams happening at the moment, from what I can tell.
We've got 3 people watching. It's like, hey guys, 4. So finally, Sean has worked it out again. Yay!
Oh, look, bear with us. We will get the hang of this.
Wait, it's like it's
I'm utterly exhausted now, Lisa. So I'm just going to let you talk about charts.
It's like yeah. I'm falling asleep. I'm like,
my goodness. Let me enable screen share for you before I forget.
yeah. So finally, so thank you all for bearing with us and bearing with Sean.
Absolutely.
Most importantly.
Okay. Lisa, you can share your screen now. So lots of questions for you, but let's jump straight into the action on Bitcoin and Ethereum, huh?
Let's jump straight in. Hello, LA Meth Witch. I can see you on there. Finally, we've got Sean has worked it out. Amazing. All right, so this is my chart. This is a 12 days of Christmas chart that we've got up on Twitter. So we can see that we are retracing nicely as expected on this channel support. So this Bitcoin is actually moving so perfectly right now. And yeah, so it's like obviously like held up with Tether and doing all of that stuff, and you know it's looking really beautiful. So we should have one probably more sort of retouch of this channel before we start heading up again. So I think we are going to, oh, I just squished my little picture up there. I think we're going to hit this upper resistance here probably in the next probably few days, I would say. So it's around 21,000. I think we're going to get this all-time high. We're going to, you know, on all exchanges, because we didn't get the all-time high on all exchanges. Some exchanges got it. So yeah, so it's looking really, really good, Bitcoin at the moment, and really predictable. So well, for me anyway. I know a lot of people are getting wrecked on it at the moment. So for me, it's really good.
Big call, Lisa. There's been a lot of people calling for a retrace. So you want to give us a bit more detail around why you're confident we're going up here?
This is this pattern that I've been calling for God knows how long. And we, you know, when we go up to these higher time frames, let me go to like, we can see that we've got this support here and we've held this support. So, you know, we've bounced really strongly off this. Even if we do come down one more time for a retrace, you know, it's around sort of 18,500-ish. And, you know, and then we're heading back up. So it's possible we do have that one more, but, you know, we're going to retest this high first, this 19,800. If we can't pass that region, then we'll come back and we'll test 18,500. And then we'll hear like everyone going, we're going to fill all the gaps. It's like, we're not going to fill all the gaps.
So you think, sort of, key levels are really breaking. What 19.8 for you, is it?
Yeah, 19.8 at the moment is the key level. So that's kind of the all-time high region on a lot of exchanges. Not
Where
on
are we
all.
right now, by the way? Obviously, I've been mucking around for 2 hours trying to get this to go.
We are 19,127 on Bitfinex.
Right. Okay.
So
bumping around on that channel.
Yeah, so it's in that channel and it's kind of just hanging around there. So, hey, Marcus in Hamburg, and we will get to Ethereum. Hey, Jacko, and yes, Aaron, I'm getting to Ethereum. So there's a few requests. So so it's looking really, really good and really strong in my opinion. So if I go to the BLX, which is the chart that, obviously we've had forever. So this chart goes right back to the beginning of time of Bitcoin. So like right back to where it was tradable and, sort of everything was happening. So if we put this is a weekly chart, and we can see that we've got this diagonal support that we're developing at this point, and we're getting strong support on this diagonal support. So, if we do come one more time down to here, so if we have a look at the next low that could be, this is a weekly chart. So the next low is 18,600 to 18,000, sort of 550-ish if we do get that. So if we don't continue up. So often, like I showed you on Twitter over the last week, we do get these hammers forming. So, we could get 2 hammers forming in this region before we sort of start heading upwards. It's to me, it's looking really, really strong, and I see absolutely no issue. So if we have a look at, this is the CME. So we've got a new gap. It's actually quite a large gap that we formed over the weekend. So obviously because the CME doesn't trade over the weekend. So if we zoom in on this chart, we can see that we've got a gap from sort of 18,400. So we could go down and fill that with a wick.
Yep.
And then, come back up. But I think we're retesting the 19,800 first before we come back and do that. So, and that forms this pattern here that I've been saying for forever and ever and ever. So, and this is the, we've got this rising pattern because we've got this diagonal support here. So if we go to a parallel channel, so if we draw that, we come down here. So this is around the 18,000 and 500 sort of 50-ish range that we'd come back down if we do a D wave. We don't always get a D wave. So this is C wave complete. It has enough waves to continue higher here. The only reason it may come down is just to fill this gap because it is quite a large gap. When there's smaller gaps, I kind of don't worry about them. So if we can see back on, I've had this chart up before on HardForking. So we can see that, these gaps, we've got a couple of little gaps that just, some gaps take months and months and months to fill and others fill straight away. So this one's not filled yet. This gap here took 3 months to fill. So if we
just for anyone new, Lisa, you just want to very quickly explain what these gaps are you're talking about here?
Yeah, so CME, obviously, it's not really Bitcoin, but it's a futures sort of platform, and so it's basically paper Bitcoin. So, but these gaps within Twitter and within sort of like the trading community are seen as these, things that really need to get filled, and I disagree because it's not actually Bitcoin. So, that's the reason I say that they don't need to be filled in any particular order. Yep. But gaps as a whole are basically, for the CME, it doesn't trade 24 hours a day like Bitcoin does. They close with the normal markets. Yep. And that's why over the weekend there's always a gap filled, like a gap created. So, and normally on a Monday, we'll have a red Monday if we've gone up, or we'll have a green Monday if we've gone down. So that's kind of how it normally works. Like the gaps are filled over the weekend, created over the weekend, filled, or, whatever on the Monday. So either up or down. So it's Monday here in Australia, but I'm talking about Monday in the USA. So it goes with the USA market. So obviously CME is Chicago. So that's it will be on open on the CME. We may get a retrace to about 18,500 before we head up again. So that's entirely possible. And being as if this is a D wave, so our A wave is normally a 5 wave, depending on the pattern. So B waves are 3, so an ABC, and then we come down, we've got 5 waves here that we can count very easily in this C wave. So that wave's complete. And then our D wave will be another ABC. So it makes sense that this wave here could come down, create the B wave down, fill that gap, continue up. So if we do fill that gap in this region, it means that we are going to come down for the E wave at this point. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. So we can sort of judge this pattern and how much corrective sort of waves we're going to get by these next waves that we're seeing here.
Right.
So yeah, so we do have this gap, and when Chicago opens tomorrow, the CME is open tomorrow. If we do go down and fill that, we're going to have one more attempt up at this all-time high before we come down. And if we do come down, that means that we're going to have this strong run before Christmas. So I think at this point, this 19,800 will be a sharp drop before we take off again.
Okay.
We
all want that new all-time high for Christmas, Lisa.
Yeah, well, Bitfinex has moved quite a bit of BTC out of their cold storage. So it makes sense that they could sell this region. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of Tether printed lately. So obviously there's Tether loans that need to be repaid. So it makes sense that they would sell this top one more time, forcing it down quite quickly and then rebuying that. So I would recommend to everyone to watch whale calls at this point, because I think, and have some orders sitting here like waiting in these regions. So this is about 18,400, this E wave. So it may not go that deep. It may hold higher. E waves sometimes do. Sometimes they truncate. So, it may not do. We've got plenty of room on the RSI to sort of move and to, like, if we have a look at here, it makes sense that the RSI could retrace in line with this ABC. So we might get a retrace down here before we head up again, with then a retrace down and then up again. So, that's really possible on the RSI, and something that we see quite often. The MACD on this 4-hour chart is bullish, and I think that will remain bullish until we get to the 19,800 mark. So that's a key level where it's make or break. And I think we're going to have one more retrace. So, yeah.
Do you have any comments around, obviously the big news of 2020 has been these corporate plays, obviously Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy are the talk of the whole Bitcoin community now. I mean, the amount of actual Bitcoin they've bought is phenomenal. And if you look at how that is actually structured with the investors in that company, it's effectively a 2x long by the investors there. So it doesn't look to me like this short-term play. So when I hear some people talking about Bitcoin crashing back down to much lower levels, that would have to be MicroStrategy unloading.
I really don't see that happening.
No, neither do I.
I see, a run up until we get KYC in at the end of February. We'll have a sell-off, obviously, at the end of December, because we've got USA tax season. I don't think that sell-off is going to be massive. I think Tether's going to continue to prop us up. So if we have a look at the total crypto market cap here, we're in this third wave. which is a large wave pattern. And, you know, we've got some really, this is a monthly chart, because I just wanted to show that we're holding above this support region. This is diagonal support. I love diagonals. Everyone always sees them on my charts, and I think they're so much more better than, like, you know, horizontal support, and they create so much more like support in these regions because they go back further. So if we were to go back like much further with this, like if we don't take the wick into account, we're going right back. So you know, so if we take the wick out here, we're basically bouncing off this strong support. So all the way back, it goes back to Feb 17. So I really see no issues with this sort of continuing up with the total crypto market cap with money coming in. It's, yeah, to me, it's a no-brainer that Bitcoin's just going to continue going up. So if we have a look at the sell-off volume as well, so we've got this massive capitulation in this region of the sell-off, but have a look how much it really moved this market. So we didn't see the massive falls that we have seen. So, and that's something that, you know, when we see this capitulation and it's that massive, that means we're turning around. So capitulation happens at the point of reversal. Yep. So, you know, and a huge amount of volume came back into the market at this point. So, yeah.
Right. As you know, Lisa, I've been in a 4x ETH long. I think my entry was 555.
Yes.
I just closed that position while I was in the middle of being flustered trying to get this live stream going. So let's look at whether I should open it up again. And
well,
what direction?
A very similar pattern to what Bitcoin's doing right now. So over the weekend, obviously, we had this like bounce. We hit this support on the RSI, and we have this diagonal support. When we get the opposite sort of supports, that means this is a bullish divergence. So it's a really strong, this is a daily chart. So this is a really strong bullish divergence. So even if Ethereum potentially could have one more sort of small drop down on this RSI before continuing up. So, and if that happens, we get one more small drop here on this before continuing up. So this sort of area is about the 569, 570 mark, could go maybe 565. But yeah, not a massive drop. So this is in line with BTC. So I think before Christmas on Ethereum, we're going to see at almost $700.
Yep.
And, you know, we can see this is a daily chart. So in our MACD is starting to curl up in this region. If we go down to a lower time frame, so we go down to a 6-hour chart, we've already crossed bullish in this. So, and that's, you know, we may curl down, but I don't think we're going to uncross. I don't think we're going to go bearish. So, you know, and this is in line with, you know, a small retrace happening. We've got a lull in volume in this region, which if we can see when we have sort of, you know, we've had the capitulation in areas and then we've taken off again. So, so if we're looking at how the volume sort of profile works, we can see that, you know, we've got capitulation and then we've gradually got this build up where we've had this rise. And again, then we've had this like major sell-off. So Ethereum's had these major sell-offs, but not, you know, always a major movement. So there's a lot of money also coming into Ethereum in these regions. So if we look at the side here, the visible range volume profile, so this is a different indicator again, we can see where we've got the most money coming in to this region, so which is in the area that we're in here. So, you know, that creates a support once we get above it. So at the moment, it's a little bit, it causes a little bit of resistance because we do have that sort of buy and sell region and a lot of people shorting because they think, you know, obviously Ethereum's going to continue down. So That's how this volume profile works. So we do have a stronger support down around the 460-ish mark, but I don't think we're going to break this diagonal here. So unless something sort of catastrophic happens in the market and, all the traditional markets start dumping, I don't see cryptocurrency, as a whole sort of, moving sort of the opposite way to what we're doing now before Christmas.
Yeah. Very true. I'll share some charts on Ethereum with you all shortly.
Yeah. So BSV, I've had a lot of people asking me about this. So it is still in this corrective pattern. It's been in this for quite some time. We are nearly finished this. We should have one more touch up to this 200, which is about 179, 180. One more rejection down before we absolutely take off. So if we can bust through and retest in this area, BSV is a strong buy for me. So I'm always in BSV. I trade the waves, but as we get to this area, I'll be pushing my stop up into profit, and hopefully we can break this diagonal resistance here that we've got. And, on lower timeframes, we're looking really, really strong. So, we've got strong support of the 100 MA, and that's been holding. So it sort of has swooped under and held. So we've had a lot of, the red is money coming in. So we've had a lot of money coming in. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a lull at the moment with the, the correction. So, but that's starting to build again. So we can see this indicator here is starting to turn up. So it works similar to the MACD. So we do have money coming in here. So I think over the long sort of term, over the next 3 months, BSV is, really going to be one to watch. Another one that I don't usually sort of talk about much as well, I'll bring that chart up, is EOS. And it's in a very similar pattern to what BSV is. And so EOS has a few little bits and pieces that it's happening at the moment. So, and EOS is actually just broken above this diagonal resistance. So this is going to be one to watch. We've got strong support. This is a daily again, strong support of the MAs. And we're starting to move up. So hopefully we can build a bull flag in this region, and then continue up. So, and this is what BSV is doing. So I think BSV will follow and continue to follow this pattern. And, EOS is looking really strong from this point in.
Okay. I know you didn't want to look at thousands of altcoin charts today, Lisa, but Vlad is asking if you could have a look at e-gold, and obviously it's actually been one we looked at last week. It was a big mover this week.
It is a big mover. It's just hit my second target. So I've had this one on Twitter for forever. So this is one that I bought when it was Elrond, and I had so many people on Twitter telling me that I needed to buy it and I needed to invest and it was going to be huge. And this project is actually massive. So we have the Orion protocol, I think it's called. Let me have a look. I followed them. So we've got Orion protocol. So they are launching on eGold. So ORN. So if we have a look at eGold, there's quite a few sort of, things happening. It's a really, really exciting project. Obviously, they, upsized it really and it became, when it entered onto Binance and they, times it by 100 or 1,000, I can't remember, but the price became more expensive. And then we had this massive drop and forever sideways. And now we are really taking off. So the chart that we've had in this region is we've just hit 160% on this. And I think it's only going to continue. So we've got this nice cup, this nice curve. forming here. So even if we do get a small retrace, I don't think it's going to be massive. We've got, again, strong diagonal support. So if we do come down, 14.8 maybe, but I really think this is going to take off just with everything that's happening. So also have a look at ORN. It's launching on eGold. So yeah, and this is definitely one to hold and trade the waves. So for me, this is one of my staples now.
Interesting. Okay.
You're like, I don't have any of that.
Look, I've had some interesting meetings lately with one crowd who are running a DeFi project where eGold was quite integral into their plans.
Yeah,
where you can release liquidity on blockchains that aren't ERC20 effectively. So,
well, it is because it's got the interoperability. So, it's DeFi is amazing.
I have been learning about it, Lisa. I know you've been talking about it all year.
I know.
Slow on the uptake.
But yeah, the interoperability of chains is amazing. So to explain it like I've done in a layman's terms, it's like driving on a road and, going over and crossing over into, say, from the USA to Canada, you're still in the same road, you're just on a different, in a different place. So yeah, really exciting.
Yeah, okay.
So when are you buying some, Sean?
Well, it looks like you're telling me to get some, Lisa. So
not financially.
I went all in on WOZ token this week and did 100%.
Oh, did you? So it was Steve, wasn't
it? Was my DGen move. It launched. It was all over the news. I'm like,
oh, that's a good one. So,
co-founder of Apple, and bang, 100% in, I don't know, like 12 hours. So that was.
It's good. That one's actually a really interesting project because it has like a low market cap. So it's not like it's, got 21 million coins or whatever. So I think it was like 10 million or something. I can't remember, but yeah.
It was the co-founder of Apple and a bunch of Italians, which was.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know, has he moved to Italy or not?
Very interesting.
I know very little about it, but I am going to be learning about it. Obviously, I'm still holding a bit of it, that wonderful feeling when you're able to pull your principal out and let the rest ride, which is where I'm at with that one now. After
so we've got Crypto Kruger's just joined the party. So
Crypto who?
Crypto Kruger, Brett Kruger. So hi, he's in South Africa.
Hello, Brett.
You should be able to do his accent because you're from New Zealand.
Look, I'm still flustered, Lisa. I've just noticed that this meeting is once again called Sean's Zoom meeting.
It's always Sean's Zoom.
Running a crypto channel for nearly 5 years. I'm still getting this stuff wrong. We need some help. Maybe Marcus, who I know is quite technical, who's also watching, can assist on the next one. Anyway, welcome to Sean's Zoom.
I'm gonna bring up
Lisa's TA video.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to bring up Link. So we had a strong bounce off this support region. It crossed down in. I think it took out a lot of stop losses, but it's moved strongly again. So if any of these, if BTC does decide that it's going to go back to 18,500, the most we're going to go back to here is $11,900, $11,000. $11.90. I don't think it's got 11,000.
Yep.
It's like we've not reached there yet, but like, yeah, but we have got strong support. This is a 2-hour chart. Strong support of the MAs here. We should come down and retouch. So we're just about to turn around on Link. So about where we might get a touch to $12.50 if you're feeling lucky, and then we'll continue up. So on the higher time frames on Link, we still have lots of room on the RSI to be moving. So if we draw, we're above, so we've got a tiny drop, which is probably that $12.50 sort of mark, and then we're going to take off. So when you sort of look at the altcoin charts, you can see the general direction of what Bitcoin's doing as to the pattern that these charts are sort of, reflecting on screen.
Mm.
So Waves is another one that's has just moved epically this year. So and you know, I've got a 4 here. It may not drop that low, so don't panic everyone that it's going to necessarily do that. We could go as high on Waves as the sort of the $12 mark. We should get sort of strong resistance at $10 though. That's normally, it's a psychological reason. Everyone's like, oh, it's $10. I'm going to sell here. So I do think we'll get a sell-off in that region. But do also know that, you know, they've got some news coming out, so we could push through to the sort of the $12 area before we do get that sell-off. And again, it may not be this deep. It may be like a shallow sort of sell-off and, you know, in line with this sort of diagonal that we've got coming up here. So, you know, it doesn't have to be this massive sell-off. It's just that is in line. EW says that you can go that deep. The 4 and the 1 don't cross. So, you know, that's possible, but that all depends on what BTC does. I don't see BTC, you know, having this massive dump anytime soon.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
And I suppose just from I know you're the technical analyst here, but I just, you know, quickly throw this in there from, you know, from that fundamental point of view. I think it's pretty widely accepted now, you know, when we had that massive move up from 8K to 14, that effectively was the plus token scam. And then obviously they dump back into the market. Now I think we've got this sort of strange situation where, you know, this major player and Michael Saylor is sitting on so much Bitcoin here that, you know, as I said before, would really have to be them unloading for me to see a huge move downward.
Yeah, I think it's you know, for those major players coming into the market and moving across from traditionals, because there is so much money to be made in crypto. Yep. I don't think, you know, I think that money's going to continue. So we've seen that from August, we've gone from $10,000 right through to 20,000. So we've done 100% move in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know, and most of those people were heavily margined. You know, obviously the ones that are over leveraged do get taken out. But, you know, when you're in a sort of like a 2.5 times that Michael Saylor's in, you've got so much room to move. It's like you should have a stop loss, but you don't need to have one.
Well, I think they've made about $250 million so far in 3 months with that move.
Yeah, so it is massive.
Well done, Mr. Saylor.
and then, you know, when you're thinking about that, and it's like, so you've got a company that's posting those sort of profits. Yep. People want to get on board. So that's why I'm saying, you know, this goes into the, you know, the financial sort of newspapers, and it's going on to the financial TV programs, and you know, these companies are making this amount of money in Bitcoin. And of course, you know, people are going to start sort of coming in. So this is why I see this run continuing, and, you know, mum and dads and retail buyers starting to come into the market. So
yeah, they're not really here yet, are they? I mean, it's funny.
They're not here yet, no. And it's like most of them, if they did hold, you know, for the last 2 or 3 years, right through the bull market and the bear market, they're probably break even, because a lot of them bought at sort of $18,000, $19,000. It's like, because, you know, that was kind of when it was hitting the news, and it's like, that's when you needed to invest. And if you weren't already invested, that's where you did. So I'd say that majority of people now, if they were hodlers, they would be in strong profits. Yeah.
You've left that XRP chart up there while we're chatting.
Yeah. So, you know,
just before you get into them, you know, just for me on that note, you know, a couple of interesting meetings I had this week. One was with somebody who's got $500 million under management and family offices, and just knows nothing about the space, but now realizes we have to have exposure. So yeah, you know, I'm doing a bit of work with those sort of people, talking them through it. There's clearly going to be a corporate bull run here.
Well, there is. So, and that's what
your job if you're not having some of your treasury exposed to.
Well, that's why I'm like, we go at the total crypto market cap here, and we can see that it has strong moves, and it's only going, you know, with this capitulation here and it holding this high, we're only going higher, in my opinion. So we've got so much room to move. So Skoda, he has purchased. They've posted profits. So so Michael Saylor, and there's, you know, obviously we've got Fidelity, we've got can't even think of all their names now. Grayscale.
Well, the reality is there's a bunch of new ones lining up, and you know there is that sort of, often it's a sort of 6 to 9 month time lag for them to get, you know, the compliance, everything in place. You know, the Sailor's obviously in MicroStrategy, that's the one everyone's aware of now. Obviously, you've mentioned Fidelity, who have been in the space for a number of years, but you know, imagine another 3-4 of these players coming in quick succession. We're going to see a domino effect, in my opinion. This isn't financial advice, but you know, just looking at what I'm seeing in the background, I also met up with the head of a global bank based here in Singapore. They're gearing up. They're going to be selling crypto in the very near future.
They are. So that a lot of the banks are, you know, developing these vaults for crypto. So I know a lot of the Swiss banks and a lot of the Scandinavian banks are like actually hodling, and you know, they're going to be sort of, you know, selling that and within the bank, and you can, you know, store your crypto in the bank. So that's kind of happening around the world right now. And I know these banks, because of OTC deals and stuff like that, that's been happening, are like actively, you know, just buying up all the Bitcoin they can. So we don't see that sort of happening, you know, because OTC deals don't go through exchanges. We sometimes see it moving, you know, on the whale calls and that sort of stuff. But a lot of the time, we don't see those big transactions.
They're a lot more sophisticated now. As you and I both know, in the past, an OTC deal used to be, okay, you want to buy X amount of Bitcoin, and you match your buyers and sellers. I think nowadays, you know, it's very much these high frequency trading. So, for example, you know, the likes of Sailor, when they were buying up, apparently it was every couple of hours, and it was across multiple exchanges.
And that's the thing, because you want to have as much exposure as you can at a very similar price. So, you know, for the Michael Saylors of the world, where you're buying that much Bitcoin, you essentially can create like the massive spikes like we see on the, so if we go, I'll get back to XRP in a minute, guys, but go to the, you know, this is the Binance AUD chart for Bitcoin. And we can see, so potentially if you don't spread the sort of, you know, the buys over several exchanges, this is what happens. So somebody's come in, they've had a lot of money, they've market bought, and oops, all of a sudden they've paid $40,000 Australian for a Bitcoin, which is about 30,000 US dollars. So, you know, that's a very expensive Bitcoin. So that's why, you know, when a big institution comes in, it is spread across all exchanges. There's probably, you know, it's like Bitfinex, you know, probably Gemini, you'll have OKX, Huobi, those sort of exchanges are the bigger ones. You know, I don't think they're going to be touching the tiny little ones, but yeah, so Bittrex and those sort of ones. So XRP, so we're going to see a similar pattern forming with XRP as well that we have seen on Bitcoin. So we could possibly—
What's that, a pump and dump?
Shush. No, Bitcoin's legit.
Sorry, I got a lot of stick for slagging on XRP last week, so I won't do that. I don't.
Yeah, you should. They got a lot of support.
Be quiet. So you talk about XRP. I'll say.
XRP didn't have a massive sell-off after the snapshot, so it's actually done really, really good. So it still looks really bullish. You know, the indicators have crossed really bullish on this low time frame. We've crossed here. So we're going up on XRP. So we might see one more tiny drop. You might be able to get in at 49 cents, might. So, but it is, you know, still very, very bullish. Our volume has eased off, which when I see volume easing off, to me, that means that we're just about to get a big move. And we've pretty much gone right down to the bottom. So, and that's kind of when it sort of turns around. Our RSI is looking, really sort of congested in this region. It shows that we could potentially get one more small drop before we try to break out again. So I don't see this pattern going sideways forever as we did previously, just due to the fact, the rule of alternation in trading, if this wave is extended, which, it went for basically forever. So we've got, September right through to November for that wave. So, that's crazy. And it's, it went sideways forever, literally, XRP. But I don't see that happening. So we've got, a nice corrective structure here, and, may get one more wave down before we have these massive waves up. And I really think XRP is again going to lead with Bitcoin and racing up to those new all-time highs.
Yeah. I think Skoda is asking whether they sign contracts with miners. I think, just to answer your question there, I assume you're talking about the
OTC
purchase. What you got to remember is we've got only 900 Bitcoins minted on the daily now. It's nothing. So, the appetite for these huge players, they're having to go to exchanges. There's no way
the supply, and
just for miners.
That's the other thing as well. So supply and demand is a big thing in trading. So the supply of Bitcoin is dwindling, and we don't have the volume that we had once pumping out of these mining farms. So the algorithms are just too difficult for to get massive amounts of Bitcoin. So the price is going to continue as demand continues to rise. So that's the other reason I don't really see it going down to these 14,000 ranges that I hear on Twitter. So when you look at the overall picture, the amount of demand versus the supply is means we're going up.
I still think I still think that level is possible, simply because there is so much coin in so few hands at the moment. So we could see a situation like that. I think it's unlikely, and if it were to go there, I don't think we'd be hanging around long.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And a lot of the exchanges are buying it up and moving it off exchange into cold wallets. So we see that often in Bitfinex. So you can on the quant chart. So I've shared that link with you guys before. You can go in and check what the movements of Bitcoin and what's coming onto exchange and what's leaving, and what the miners are doing and where it's sort of going. So yeah, at the moment there's not it's sort of moving off and into these cold wallets. So that's another reason the supply is sort of dwindling again. The exchanges are knowing that it's valuable, so they're putting it away.
Yeah. Okay. So
Cool.
we've had that XRP chart up there forever, Lisa. What else you got for us?
I've got some AVA. So this is one of my favorite projects right now. So obviously AVA, it is actually a usable crypto. So we've been in this channel for forever in AVA, and we've held the BTC pair forever as well, and it's held this support, which has been really nice. So even when BTC's had the major dumps, this pattern has really held. So what AVA does is basically it's Travala, and it's a travel portal, and you can go and book your holidays, and you can go and do all of that. So, and you can stake AVA, and you get an annual yield for your money. So it's 24%. So it's a DeFi as well. So
24%.
Yeah, 24%. That's better than bank money.
Well,
if you don't want to trade and you want to be
a few of those that are paying huge. I mean, well, I suppose Ethereum started off at 25, wasn't it? With that that initial pull. But
yeah, so this is an initial pull, so obviously it may grow as it goes on. And then staking your AVA when we can travel, because we can't at the moment. So we can travel a little bit in Australia, I think now, but so you get 10% discount on all your bookings, which is nice. Okay. So yeah.
Plug there for AVA.
Plug there for AVA. No, it's actually it's because you can go onto their platform, you can pay with any crypto. So okay. It's I like
for real world use cases.
Yeah, it's a real world use, and it's why I love this project so much. And you know, it's going places as well. Yeah.
All right, very good. Very good. So we've managed. I'm exhausted, to be honest. From what I did today, I was nearly.
So Brett's just commenting on XRP. He had XRP forever. He was like, and a friend of mine, Thomas. So I hadn't heard from Thomas for about 6 months. And when XRP started moving, he was like straight on the phone. And it was like everyone that was trading XRP rang me and went, oh my God, my XRP's moved. So I think they'd given up. So I know Brett, who's talking in the chat box there, had it forever. And he was like, I'm going to sell it when it gets to this certain level. So I don't know if he sold it yet.
I feel your pain, Brett. That's why I don't like it. I obviously it was that one that boomed. I think late 2016. It was one of the first sort of cryptos that really took off. And I forget the price. I picked it up at, I think it was around 32 cents, but it was just painful watching the rest of the crypto space just overtaken. And obviously it had that big move near the end of the bull run.
Yeah. Okay, so this is
Bitcoiner. I'm also starting to love what I'm learning about Ethereum and seeing happening there as well. So XRP doesn't excite me that much, but this is a trading show at the end of the day, isn't it? It's all about reading a chart and what's going to move.
It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it moves and it's making money, you can trade it. So it's fine. So this is YFI. We looked at this chart last week and I said it was correcting. It has corrected. It's had a strong bounce as well. So we are going to get a small correction here again. We'll probably go to about 24,400 before we take off again. So YFI is looking really bullish. We've got some nice movements on the MACD and the RSI. And again, YFII, it's finished its correction, and I really believe this one's going to take off again. So I think we're going to do 100% over the next month on this one. So big call, I know, but
only slightly.
Yeah, I really see this one moving. So yeah, there's so many Wi-Fi's, and it's like
100% in the next month from Lisa. There you go. Well, it can't be the coin of the week; it could be the coin of the month.
Well, yeah. So I truly think this one's about to move. It's got all the signs that it's just about to move. So,
tell me a little bit about these signs then here. I mean, what do you educate the public?
The same as what I've been saying with these other calls. So other coins. So we've got this, sell off here on and declining volume, which usually means, so we can see that when the volume declines, we get these spikes and it goes back up. So, and we've got volume entering. So we've got declining volume again. So we should start to see volume entering again in these points. Our RSI is at a point. So if we're at our resistance point, which means we are going to either make or break this region, which I think we're going to break through. And our MACD here is starting to curl up. And we've crossed bullish from this point here. So that's what I look for on these charts, and we've got strong support on the visual range volume profile as well. So lots of money entering and holding up this region. So that's why I'm saying that that's what I look for in all the indicators. And I look that we have held support regions and it's moving strongly. So if we have a look at this, we've got support the whole way along. So,
makes my 4x long on ETH look really boring. All in on YFI. Oh, sorry, YFII.
This one's YFII. So YFI's got one more tiny wave down before we take off again as well. So it's also had the declining volume in this region, and our RSI is in a very similar pattern here. So, and our MACD again turning up. So, I think both of these are going to start really moving over the next, couple of weeks to a month.
Very good.
Okay. And he's still holding.
What's that?
He's still holding XRP. Crazy man.
There you go. Okay. Anything else to look at, or shall we?
I think that's pretty much.
We wrap it up for this weekend. Gives me
so now that hopefully Sean knows how to do it, and maybe
I swear to you, I was nearly in tears today. So anyone watching, you have no idea what we went through.
I just sat here bored. So
well, I'm not very pleased with myself that once again I've managed to call a crypto trading show Sean Zoom meeting. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Cool.
We will. But anyway, Lisa, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you for joining in the chat. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
We will be back Monday next week, 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time.
Well, roughly around that time.
If Sean can get it working. It could be 6:30.
It's definitely a Monday. It's definitely live. That's good enough for now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
So I've made hundreds of videos over the last 5 years, Lisa. This live stuff, I'm nearly there.
Nearly there. This close. This close.
So close. All right. Hey, listen, thanks very much. And thanks for watching, people. Obviously, any questions, anything you'd like us to look at specifically next week, put some comments below. And obviously, most of you know you can find Lisa on Twitter on the daily. If you don't, you can. Link below to that also. And we'll see you all very soon. I got a very interesting show tomorrow, actually, with another Aussie who, two Australians, actually.
Yeah.
She advises the G7, OECD governments around what's happening in crypto. She seems very, very pro crypto and Bitcoin. Interesting person, so tune in for that. That'll be up tomorrow.
Awesome.
What else have we got coming? We're back to our degenerate trading show on Wednesday,
which Sean has made 100%.
I have a couple of good trades lately. A couple of good trades. I'm going all right. But I need that next 100%er, and you're telling me YFII in the next month.
YFII is.
I go all in, Lisa, and I can just win that competition.
Do not ever go all in. Never all in. You know what I call that? That's the full retard. You never go full retard. Never.
Well, if I can't figure out how to post a live stream, maybe I am that full retard.
That, by the way, guys, don't get angry at us. That's from Tropic Thunder.
True.
Yeah. So, yeah, no rude comments.
No, we're laughing at ourselves. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for joining us, people.
Hi. Who we got? Stoica Mario. Hi.
Stoica Mario.
Yeah, is that Stoica? Did I pronounce that right?
Big fan of Lisa's. There you go. Welcome along, Stoica. Okay. Thank you
guys for joining us.
You love this live stuff, don't you? There's no way I'm ever going to be able to go back to.
No, the live stuff's good because people can ask me stuff, and once they get on
they'll even be able to find this live stream if I can actually name it properly and everything. Anyway, let people know we are here on Mondays, and we will iron out the kinks.
Smash the like button, guys, and don't forget to come back next Monday.
Cool. Great to see you all. See you